there's more publications and quote unquote news outlets now than ever before. The good with that is that you got somebody to, challenge information from another place. But once it becomes oversaturated, now you got people that are thirsty to keep the lights on and keep the doors open, and there's just stories and stories and stories, and people make connections that don't exist and connect this story to that story, and none of that shit works. But it's out there as a story, it's out there as news, right? You'll see this conversation happen so much that these two conversations happen so much that they meld together. Since this tariff talk and this extradition talk and this sending troops into the U.S. and everybody learning to play nice with each other and the U.S. threatening tariffs and Scheinbaum sending soldiers down to the border to help with that, and the U.S. threatening tariffs and threatening to send the woo-ha guys up in there to go handle their business against the cartels, and they extradite 29 people from Mexico, and it gets to the point where news cycle. Now I don't say that that's what Cartel Insider is doing. I'm saying is Mexico and the U.S. getting cozy with each other and shit. They becoming friends. We're gonna end up unnaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America back to the Gulf of Mexico, because this story's talking about they want to get into the prison business together, right? That's what this is talking about, so let's give it a look. Mexico and the U.S. explore project to create maximum security prison for Oakland bosses. All right? They want to build prisons. Now, we heard after the extradition, and we heard the talk of the U.S. wanting to send, prisoners to places like what is it, El Salvador, something like that, or Venezuelan prison, wherever that prison is. This sounds like an extension of that. And what did I say? I said, hey, how long before the U.S. says, hey man, why don't you we'll throw you a couple dollars and y'all build some more acres of that super duper max that you got going on over there, that super duper max prison. U.S. say, hey man, we'll throw you a couple bucks, you build that bigger, we'll make a statement and see what happened. And that's what this title looks like to me. So let's see what they're talking about. The Mexican and U.S. governments have begun talks on a project to build a super maximum security prison exclusively for organized crime leaders. For organized crime leaders, right? Is everybody a leader? Prisons are pretty big. How many leaders we got? Keeping the capos isolated from the outside world would be one of the strategic objectives. Sources close to the elaboration of this plan told Milenio that the initiative of a mega prison only for capos has gained strength and followers in Washington as a way to collaborate with Mexican authorities to eradicate criminal organizations, especially the 6 cataloged as tourists by the White House, as a way to collaborate with Mexican authorities. Everybody wants to be friends. We got a common goal here. All right, let's hope that it's real. Let's hope it's for the people. Let's hope it's to stop the oppression of innocent people that try to go to work every day and get their money. If you ask some people, they'll tell you that that local economy is cartel run, and it doesn't happen without Oakland, without narco trafficking. We talked about Rosalinda, I believe her last name was Galindo, yesterday, whose position was she delivered groceries to someone. Yeah, maybe she knew again how much is that forced on her. Said her sister sent her to take someone groceries. She ended up interrogated and unalived, right? Also, some of these towns that are so deep and dug into the organized crime for decades upon decades upon decades, you look at the community and it just looks like an extension of the mob, right? That's the idea that I feel like Upper Echelon gave us when he did a segment where where we spoke about the protests against El Rocha.
Oye, ¿y el Rocha? ¿Y el Rocha? Bueno, ¿y el Rocha?
And he said Culiacan's different, man. You know, for all you know, those people are Maísa. You know. So I don't know. I'm not there. Boots on the ground. I'm not Yohan Grillo. I ain't going. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I got my own wasteland to traverse, right? But this is what Mexican authorities and the United States government, or Mexican government, United States government, cozying up to each other in the name of one common enemy. I don't know. This construction, which would be unique in Mexico, would be advised by U.S. agents specialized in building the toughest penitentiary systems on the continent. And its main objective would be to cut off communication between imprisoned criminal leaders and cells to operate freely on both sides of the border. By the time something like that would be end of Trompito administration, the next administration probably wouldn't be on board to follow through with that. So what they do, they just write off the money that they spent on it and just let the construction sit there and suffer. Yeah, I'm sure something like that can happen. That's how I feel about government in general. I've had this conversation with you, Velez, and with Fernando before, where it's like, what does it matter? In 4 years, somebody else is going to come undo everything that was done. And they're saying it would be on the Mexico side, built by U.S. agents specialized in building the toughest penitentiary system. So that means no built-in tunnels out the gate. Is that why they want to go pay attention and watch? No, they don't want no outs. In Washington, there's no confidence in Mexico's judicial power. Evidently, no confidence in the walls of their prisons either. We'll send our own architects. Don't worry. We got this. This can't be built in the U.S. because the U.S. wants to be able to break constitutional rights by doing it in Mexico, by making friends, huh? And putting the unconstitutional incarceration on the other side of the border so they ain't got to answer for that shit. Sounds like a plan. It all sounds right. You guys are on it. El Salvador set the bar for jail. Yeah, because they don't have to... Listen, if they don't want to feed those guys, they don't feed those guys, and they're not worried about no human rights organizations protesting in front of their jail. Which lends a hand to what Fernando's talking about being able to have these non-constitutional rights or lack thereof on the other side of the wall, right? That we can't say F these people when it comes to constitutional rights because it starts becoming a slippery slope. It already is. I agree. It's called punishment, right? It's called punishment until they punish the guy that didn't do nothing. The wrong guy. Start playing, I agree, you start playing with the Constitution. Now, what happens? You losing rights too. The guy that voted for it. All right? Oppression, I said, it's called punishment. Make everyone think twice. I know it's a lot of full prisons of dudes that didn't think twice. I don't think another cooler, tougher prison is going to make anybody think twice. I think if motherfuckers had a way to live and you attack some of the poverty, motherfuckers that have a reason to think twice. One toilet for 200 people. La cagada.
Yo vivo tranquila con los pelos. Cagó el gallo. Cállate, hipopuerta.
It's like, nah, you trying to be soft on crime. What about all the innocents that lose their lives because of criminals? Nah, nothing is black and white. There's gray areas and everything. There ain't been too many motherfuckers that done 30 years for some shit that they didn't do for you to say that I'm being soft on crime. Maybe now that you're on the police side of things, you're a little heavy on crime. And those are not wishes you had when you were a criminal. So I'm not trying to hear that I'm being soft on crime shit. I'm saying, once you start playing with the Constitution, you start taking away rights, right? And you start doing this and that, the other, it is a slippery slope and it continues to go. It's just a little taste. Let's see how much I can take from them. Worried about falling down the stairs while you're trying to build the stairs that will get you in the house. Miss me with the metaphors, bro. You should have been an MC. Oh, in the name of justice, in the name of punishment, I'm going to start taking away everybody's rights. Oh, we're not worried about the little lady that got snatched up doing groceries that was minding her business because she broke the law. You know, there's plenty of motherfuckers that got pardoned in that White House. There's plenty of dope heads, coke heads. Think about the kind of motherfuckers that got pardoned from that White House. And the White House before it. And the White House before it. So miss me with the hard on crime shit. And then they go fucking, hey, they go have a celebration about locking up somebody else's criminals or taking away somebody's constitutional right. Heard enough of your hard line on criminals when it comes to that. Make the island where the prison is made U.S. property or international property, so actual rules are followed. Right? They don't want no rules. They gonna put that shit in Mexico. No rules. Upper echelon gonna run that motherfucker. Warden. People get they neck stepped on, but the dude stepping on their neck get a pardon. Fuck you talking about? I just ain't trying to hear that hard line on crime when they're pardoning whoever they feel like it. Fuck you talking about? Will have no rights outside the U.S. and like in El Salvador, citizens are getting put in prison on allegations or conspiracy of association. See, miss me with that. I don't think Shy and Twin are fighting. It's two different views all the time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the time. But yeah, we're not fighting. El Salvador is 100 times safer today than it was before. It's called collateral damage. How many of those safe people went down with the ship to make it safer? Prisons is big business. They want to keep them open. They want your ass in prison. Your brown ass, your black ass, and your poor white ass. They want you in prison. This private prison shit in the U.S. out of control. The numbers. To the point where if you got big money and you in jail, they make you pay for your own stay. So miss me with the, don't worry, it's just a couple constitutional rights. We don't need them. Nah, man. There's a system in place for a reason. You can't defend it and then deny it at the same time. Sorry for the 1,000 innocent, but good for the 59,000 criminals that were praying and all those innocent people. So fuck the 1,000 innocent, right? No mama's way. I can't be behind collateral damage. 50% of people exonerated for murder are black. Specific people targeted or by association. And you'll never convince a motherfucker that don't believe that racial profiling exists. And to say that is to be just in denial. Oh, but it only happens this percentage of the time. Well, it's too high. That percentage is too high, bro. Like, what happens when it's illegal to say something on the internet? What happens when it's illegal for me to disagree with you? Then what? I could just go to Guantanamo Bay? Fuck it. No big deal. Like, if they came and they start censoring me to the point where I can't say certain things, upper echelon, you're going to be like, man, it's for the good of the people. No. I got my fucking rights too. Talking about those who are designated FTOs. Foreign tourists organizations. I get that part. But we're talking about the U.S. building these Supermax prisons like El Salvador did when we have a different structure here. And we have a constitution. I'm sure they have one too. They probably just a little loose with it. I'm just saying once they start taking away shit, that's the slippery slope Fernando's talking about. It is a hard-earned distrust according to the American Union. The National Human Rights Commission revealed in its most recent diagnosis on national prisons that the average evaluation of a state prison is 6.3 points out of 10 due to the presence of illicit activities or insufficient security and custody personnel amongst other fundamental flaws. This prison would be advised by specialized U.S. agents. What's your thoughts on Maito Flaco unaliving innocents in Culiacan? Because it brings heat in the plaza and the governor can be changed. Anybody doing innocents dirty should be eradicated from the planet. ADX breaks every human rights laws, trust me. Well, then put them in a fucking ADX then. Read my earlier comment. Just because I was breaking the law didn't mean that I would want to change the law so that it could suit me while I was doing criminal stuff. If you had the power to change the laws to work to your advantage, you wouldn't at that point. Hopefully that would be other people because these dudes don't care about consequences. And once I was in prison, guess what those dudes in prison don't care because they're not scared of anything. People in El Salvador are going to prison for having any tattoos, especially LA or NY logos, even if someone calls the police on fake suspicion. Those videos are on YouTube. That's what's happening today by being soft. Don't you think? The minute we speak about making punishment a punishment, we come up with excuses. There's plenty of punishments. There's punishment. I'm just saying, if we live in a country with constitutional rights and our government is trying to circumvent that and send people to another country to a ruleless prison with no rules, American rules, no constitutional rules, I don't get it. Why would they have them tattoos? They should have a Chicago one. Why don't they send their criminals to... and why they don't want to send their criminals to the U.S. So, well, that's my point. It's both sides. The U.S. is saying, y'all got tunnels. Y'all don't know how to run y'all prisons. Let me do it. Shout out 298 on the check-in. I'm with Jay on this. Why wouldn't they have a Chicago Bulls tattoo if they were Bulls fans? Huh? Everybody's a Bulls fan. Ask Kim Jong-il or whatever his face is. In the 14 federal social rehabilitation centers, which are the prisons with the highest security in the country, none of them exceeds the score of 9 points, mainly due to self-government. That is, the effective control of the prison is in the hands of a handful of inmates, not the authorities. They got 14 joints that are being run by the inmates. Currently, in Papantla, Veracruz, the construction of what is promised to be the maximum security prison in the entire country is underway, surpassing even the famous Altiplano or Almoloya prison, whose announcement dates back to 2009. In its more than 15 years of construction, it has seen the passage of former presidents Felipe Calderón, Enrique Peña Nieto, and Andrés Manuel López Obrador while it waits in early inauguration. They've been building a prison for a long time, huh? Armored prison, anonymous judges, and high technology. So they're already building a mega prison in Mexico. Maybe Mexico was already cleaning up their own mess. The U.S. came, it was like, don't trip, man. The mega prison for drug traffickers is designed, for now, as a facility that will have the latest technology to inhibit the signal of cell phones and satellite radios, triple perimeter protections, and the figure of masked guards who could accompany faceless judges and specialized courts built inside the prison with special protection so that inmates don't have communication with the outside even during court hearings. So masked guards, faceless judges, they're pulling out all the stops. So they already had this in mind. The use of the artificial intelligence will have a crucial role. The most modern prisons in the world, such as Minguguasa in Paraguay, already have cameras with cutting-edge technology that perform facial recognition at exits and detect unusual movements such as jumping, running, or loitering to prevent escapes. At the end of February, the Mexican government transferred 29 leaders of organized crime to the United States, where they will be tried and, if necessary, punished with the unaliving termination penalty. In that package were high-value criminals such as brothers Miguel Angel and Omar Trevino Morales, Z40 and Z42, Rafael Caro Quintero, Antonio Oseguera Cervantes, Vicente Carillo Fuentes, and Eric Valencia Salazar, and more. El Salvador, Ecuador, Argentina, and Chile, the U.S.-Mexico prison for rug lords could be inspired by different formats already operating in Latin America. I'm telling you, I said this the other day. I said, how long before they look at El Salvador and say, damn, what you did right there was dope. The most famous is the so-called Bukele model, implemented by Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele, who ordered the construction of the Tourism Confinement Center as a crucial part of his war strategy against Central American gangs. Opened in January 2023 after an investment of $115 million, the so-called largest prison in Latin America with its 23 hectares has been both praised and criticized for the harsh conditions in which the inmates live. No contact with the outside, lights that are never turned off, shared cells without privacy that can only be left for 30 minutes a day to exercise under the supervision of surveillance cameras and riot police. This is the model that would please the United States the most, without a doubt. When Secretary of State Marco Rubio learned about the Bukele model, he never tired of praising it. My thing is, and this is my argument with upper echelon, it's like, cool, yeah, you're saying FTOs, but what happens when they decide FTOs ain't enough for them and say, you know what, we're going to start sending this one and that one? Cool. Get all of their Chomo and PDF file nieces and nephews out of Washington, D.C. and L.A. and wherever else in the country, send those motherfuckers over there too then. That's what we're doing. That's my problem with it. My problem with it is once the U.S. starts doing shit like that, at what point does it stop? Upper echelon ain't going to be able to stop it. Once it starts, you can't stop, them deciding, all right, well, now we're going to send these and those and that. Now, if you're a gangbanger in Chicago that hasn't unalived nobody, but they caught you on the street with your hat broke to the right because you were talking to somebody and you turned around, the wall hit your hat, knocked your hat, and next thing you know, you in fucking Guantanamo Bay. Nah, I'm straight. Yeah, that's a good one too. But how many innocent people are in prison, Jacob Hernandez, that didn't get in trouble, just got caught up in somebody else's bullshit? He does it also because President Nayib Bukele offered him that he can audit it as many times as he wants, and that control pleases the Trump administration. A source from the United States Department of Justice told this newspaper, right? Hey, don't worry, come check out. Yeah, you can come check it out whenever you want. Did I just hear you say someone was going to escape El Salvador? Hell no. Ain't nobody going to escape El Salvador. Shout out Jacob Hernandez. True that. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, don't get in trouble. Listen, let me say this to the camera. I'm not here to convince you to get in the game. I'm not here to convince you if you're in the game to snitch. I'm here to convince you to stay the fuck out the game. Stay out the game. No honor amongst thieves, no loyalty and none of this shit. And eventually you're going to go down. You're going to go down hard. And when you go down, you might not just take your own baggage with you. Everybody else going to throw their bags on your head too. Period. No mama's way.
No mommy's way.
Another similar Latin American model uses national waters to keep inmates as far away from land as possible. We did that here with Alcatraz. These are the floating prisons, proposed by Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa, a supporter of Bukelism. Oh, motherfuckers are starting their own ideologies around this bitch. Again, I agree with upper echelon in the sense that you got to do something to stop this shit. Got to. Right? First thing, I'm not forgetting about not one innocent motherfucker. I don't give a fuck how many. Two, once the U.S. starts taking rights and sending people here and doing this to them and whatever they want to them and nobody can say nothing, they're going to find a way to inch that out to more people and roll that out to more people and more people. It's just the way the cookie fucking crumbles. It is what it is. To ignore that is to ignore the truth. During his election campaign, Noboa was inspired by the offshore prisons that exist in the United States and the United Kingdom. Nah, he was looking at the raft in Avengers, and proposed to confront the problem of corruption in Ecuadorian prisons with what he also called penitentiary barges that have a capacity for 300 or 400 inmates and will be located more than 1,200 kilometers from the coast, far from any telephone signal. The measure, he acknowledged, would be temporary while at least 2 maximum security prisons are built, where roll call is done with biometric technology based on iris, active monitoring of inmates to guarantee their isolation, and locks with anti-tourism bollards. I'm not saying, and people would think I'm stupid. He's so stupid. He said tourism instead of tourism. Can't say those words on YouTube. No freedom of speech. You see how that works? Once they start rolling back your freedom of speech, it ends up at YouTube and you can't say shit. Another close associate of Bukele is Donald Trump. Argentine President Javier Milei hopes to soon see the completion of El Infierno. For those that don't know, that means hell. The informal name for the new maximum security prison in the South American country, which promises to toughen even the most drastic measures in the El Salvadorian CSAT. We will put microphones in cells, if justice allows it, and the inmates will not have any physical contact with their families. The regime will be super rigorous. The Argentine authorities promise at the presentation of the project that aims to have 24 surveillance towers. Meanwhile, in Chile, center-left President Gabriel Boric authorized last year the construction of a maximum security prison only for leaders of organized crime gangas which among other features has tunnels that connect the penitentiary complex with the Justice Center, where the courts are located, so that the inmates cannot even see the light of day when they meet with their lawyers. Look at the U.S. Patriot Act after 9/11. It was supposed to be temporary, and they've still kept a large part of it. Government not giving back those rights. That's what I'm talking about. They'll never pull back on them. Oh, we got it now. Well, you did what you were supposed to do with it. Now what? Now where we at? What are we doing? But there it is, all right? I didn't say I was for it nor against it. I said a couple of things before I got into my conversation with Upper Echelon about his views on it. One thing I said was, is the U.S. and Mexico, they kind of, hugging up, getting hugged up lately? Hit the like button, y'all. They're getting hugged up, coming friends. They gonna stop this tariff shit? Are the tariffs still popping? What happened with the tariffs? Shouldn't we be starving by now? What was gonna happen? And my other thought was, what Fernando was talking about. At what point does this become something that, now Martha Stewart got to do her bid in Mexico and shit next time for insider trading or whatever the fuck. Build a prison right at the border, half of it in Mexico and half in the U.S. There you go. Can we come to is that not punishment enough right there, Upper Echelon? Can we come to a compromise around here? What the fuck, man?
Tango el gato, los pantalones.
All right. All I know is it's not looking good for criminals, right? Let's just hope nobody gets caught up in the mix, but we know that's not going to happen. Why? Because we're imperfect. So imperfect that we sit here, judge, and condemn so many criminals all the time, but these people who have these strong beliefs against cartels and criminal this and criminal that, they'd be the same guy that, pardon a Silk Road rug distributor. You miss me with the hypocrisy and the bullshit. Make all the excuses you want for it. I'm a realist. I ain't trying to hear that shit. JP said, you the El Cartel leader. I'd be on the fucking raft, man. It'd be Hawkeye next to me, the Incredible Hulk over there. I'd be on a raft in the middle of the fucking ocean. Be Mayo sitting over there. Can't nobody talk to me. I wouldn't put the leaders in one prison. I help them make alliances. Nah, the alliances ain't gonna be worth shit. The alliances stay inside that prison.